Brett, you've kept the focus on the now for many weeks. Is it now the point where you really do have to look at the big picture and see that it's very tight to get in the game?
I think we're always looking at the big picture, even though we've had our eyes down for quite a number of weeks. I think having the start to the season we had hasn't really given us the opportunity to lift our eyes all year, really. So I don't think today, tomorrow, going into next week's game's any different. You know, they're big games. So we've had to sort of work off a week-to-week basis after the 0-5 start anyway. So I'm not too sure anything's changed right now.
So what does need to change, though, other than just getting wins?
Not too much. For this group, this coaching group, this playing group, it's just all about wins. It's about playing our style. It's about turning up each week. It's about planning and preparing well. I think that's what we're doing. If we reference the opposition and the game from last night, to be fair, we were probably beaten by a better team. They were organised. Their hunt was up. Their contest was good, and in the end, we just couldn't get there.
Ideally for that second quarter, you worked out what happened in the first 10 minutes?
Absolutely. Look, I think we started really well. We're doing a lot of things that we like to see, quite on repeat, which was great. I think by the time we got sort of 10 minutes into that second quarter, there was some damage and some cracks starting to appear. So, 6 goals was far too many. I think we leaked some easy ones that we were disappointed to give up. And then we're in catch-up mode, and from there there's sort of a silly type of freedom that comes with having to play catch-up, and I think we saw that again.
Are you hamstrung re-ruck? It's got to be Finlayson and Dixon again because you've got nothing else?
Potentially, but I mean the story around Scott Lysette is he didn't get any minutes on the weekend, so that makes it difficult. It doesn't make it impossible. But look, I think if you were asking him today, he would say that he's available, and I think we'll just have to weigh that up and see what we get out of him during the week. But look, I think the ruck situation fascinates a lot of people. I think what Jeremy and Charlie have been able to do, particularly when the ball hits the floor and keep that game in an even-numbered contest, has been remarkable. The sheer weight of hit-outs at times in games can be an issue for us, and I think we saw that again. Like Darcy's, if not the best ruckman in the league, he's definitely on the podium. So he went and showed that again with 10 clearances.
Given Dixon did such a good job in the second half against Wicks the week before, and then again that final quarter yesterday, should he maybe have had more of a primary role given the size of Darcy?
Yeah, I think if you go and look at the shared minutes, I think you'll find they weren't too far away from being even. Whether he was in there at crucial times or critical times, or when momentum hit, maybe that's where we could have had a closer look. But sometimes those shifts are not as easy to make based on workload, rotations. You know, I mean, I'm not here to make excuses, but I think they both had moments where they were beaten, and then they both offered up some challenges for Darcy as well.
Big away trips, still a bit of a question mark for the group. I guess Carlton, Richmond, Freo, all close games, but just getting over the line in those big games.
Look, I think that's a fair question. You add Brisbane to that as well. I mean, but you've just probably named the 4 best teams all the way from home, and we were close-ish. So tough draw, tough competition this as well. So but it just shows you if you're going to go all the way, you need to jag 1, 2, maybe 3 of those in a great season.
Does that mean your ladder position is sort of a fair reflection of where you're at as a team?
Look, I honestly don't think so. I think if we were being fair, we're probably 2 wins away from what I think would be our genuine position on the ladder and where our season would reflect. Yeah, probably not too many more than that, but no less.
You said not much has changed. The fact that you're 1 game outside the 8, now you are 2 games, I guess that has changed. You must acknowledge it's very unlikely now. You're up against it.
Yeah, and I think the group and the overall club has felt that for quite some time. But I guess my response to that is we're not doing anything differently in terms of our planning, our preparation, and our overall hunt to win each week. I don't think we change too much there. Whether things change sort of on the periphery, well then that's for others to make decisions around who plays and who doesn't play, or do we need to change anything significant. But from a planning, from a coaching, from a playing point of view, nothing really has changed, and I don't think it will, not in the next 7 days.
Do you look at I guess, for the last many games, or I'd like to see some change and maybe a little bit, given how well Jace went yesterday, maybe seeing how some youngsters are out at AFL level?
Yeah, I mean, it's all a possibility. As you said, Jace played on the weekend. Schofield was an emergency and has been an emergency for a number of weeks. Jones is at the other end of the ground. Mead's in the team. I'm not sure that we've stuck with just an old, tried and true method or lineup. We've been quite innovative, I think, to this point. But maybe we've got another step to take.
What did you think, Jason?
Look, I thought he battled really hard. There were critical moments in that game, whether he was physically worked over on a couple of mainly stoppages, or maybe he was rushed in a couple of his early touches. But I thought his fight, his contest grew. I'm sure we'll get another look at him.
Frederick fended him off at one point. He's not a big boy, so it shows he's got a lot to grow into, doesn't he?
Yeah. And look, I think Ken might have even referenced that pre-game, as a bit of a light-hearted moment for him. The body may not be where it is, but the fight and the effort and the tenacity is. So can't wait for the rest to catch up.
Who wears the missed set shot in the last couple of minutes more? Someone of Robbie's experience or someone of Robbie's?
Oh, it's a tough one.
Who shit someone tonight or last night between those two?
Probably Rob. Just because he's been in that situation so many times before, and I can't remember how many times it's been that often, and he's iced it every time. So Todd won't be thrilled either to break what's been such a great record for him as well. Another huge improvement story for us.
Felt like they rushed it a bit, which is probably out of character. Does that speak to maybe the stakes of the game?
I think it's probably spoke more to the clock, and the ease in which it was going to be to score the next goal, or the difficulty really. So I think maybe that might have crept in, but I think both had routines that are both sound that they were able to follow, even if it was slightly rushed.
Injuries? Dan Houston going to be on?
Well, we think so. I mean, it's only early. We've been on a flight for 3 hours. It is a jarred knee. I think the early signs, as I've been informed, are that he'd be okay. Oh, I'm sure he will. I mean, we scan everything. Yeah, so that was an interesting one. He had some awareness captain's run, but we were willing to take him. It got to probably 50-50 at one stage, and there was awareness there in the warm-up. So it is his kicking leg, so there's a bit of quad awareness there. So again, further investigations and we'll go from there.
With the case to answer, are you worried about that one?
I'm actually not too sure about that. Yeah. Honestly, I'm not aware of anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
How important is it, I guess, that even though you're 2 games out of the 8 now, that you actually keep going and end the season strongly, even if you're the finals, actually, get some confidence going into next year? Yeah,
look, I know it sounds really strange that if finals were off the table, which they're not, it's not the only driver for people to play footy. It's just the competitive beasts. We play to win. Sometimes things can change around the edges when you're not in finals contention, but the sheer nature of or the DNA of a player and a coach is just to go for everything. So no, I don't see that shifting anytime soon.
It's a heavy loss for Sanford's side. I mean, how concerning is it for coaches seeing, I know there's 7 players, AFL players in there, but I guess is that concerning for the coaches?
Oh, it's not concerning. I mean, obviously it's not a result we were looking for, and we're not that happy with it. But and to only kick 1 goal is obviously not acceptable. But I think we're all smart enough and wise enough to look at the reasons and the constraints around that. I think the system in which we work in at times can be quite fair and can allow for good solid performance. But then obviously we get times like the weekend where we decimated 6 players, 7 players, 1 for a half, makes life pretty tough. We wouldn't like to see that balance shift that way too often because it makes it hard for us to compete. It's a tough competition.
I know Taj was emergency. I think Josh slipped out. Do you feel like you've got, I guess, some maybe the depth at the moment for some of the young players that can not only, I guess, put pressure on the senior players, but also, I guess, maybe give an AFL game break for the AFL side towards the end of this year? Yeah, look, I'm confident that Schofield will be able to break his way into the team. He needs to play some, again, grow his game, Sanford level. Sin's obviously injured,
but we'll make some type of comeback in the next month. Wouldn't expect big things there. I think that'd be unfair. But yeah, I mean, we've got some youth in the team at the moment. We've got some sitting around the edges, which is great. I think, back to your sample question, we could have 6 to 8 players become available this week, which would even up the balance.
Zach Butters, how close was he playing? Is he a chance as well?
Yeah. I mean, I think he's more likely than unlikely. It just didn't sit comfortably with him this week. Just couldn't get any full rhythm. But as I'm informed, that's going to come pretty quickly in the next 7 days.
You might advance him, but I guess as a midfield coach, do you look at personally like doing anything different from a midfield perspective? Adding, maybe putting Jackson, giving some guys more time in the midfield, some younger guys.
Yeah, I mean we're auditing that all the time. Again, closer look last night. Robbie went in there, hadn't been in there for a while. Pet went in there, hadn't been in there for a while. Jackson got good minutes in there after not getting too many last week, and you've seen what Rosie's done. So, there's a lot of moves and shifts that are happening week to week, but there's certainly lots of moves and shifts that happen in 4 quarters. So,
And Rose,
the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Rose has obviously been really good in the midfield. I mean, how excited are you, given the way that he's been playing, and then you get Butters back in, to actually kind of build on that as maybe the future of your midfield?
Yeah, I mean, the midfield's evolving, and I think we've seen that all week. Rose has been a big part of that. Zach's when he's been in there. Willem Drew's taken on more of a leadership type role in there. We've seen Kane Farrell come back from an ACL. So yeah, there's things happening in there. It's certainly not the same old group that it has been for 3 years, but yeah, we're not certainly in any sort of rush to move people out just to get people in.
And South's in there be a bit misleading. I think Ken alluded to the post game that Oldie had an absolute stack with it, but maybe the break shorts and this is more damaging.
Yeah, potentially. I think it's hard to balance that off. The second quarter was just so poor for us and so damaging, and then you look at the last quarter, and I think we had 50 more disposals, and inside 50 count was off the charts. So they obviously had a fight back in there. We'll take a closer look. I think Ollie was an effective and one of the better mids on the ground. Was he the most potent? Well, maybe not. The result would suggest perhaps not. So, but yeah, we're happy with his work rate.